In horror movies, people get dead. Slashed, skewered, splattered, you name it. Nothing's off limits in a scary movie. But not all of these fright film fatalities are created equal. Some kills have us screaming for more. Others leave us dying from boredom. And I will be the judge and jury of these executioners. Welcome to Killer Report Card, where I pick a horror movie and grade each kill in that movie. Today's assignment, the 2023 slasher film Thanksgiving, directed by Eli Roth. Based on a fake trailer that originally appeared in 2007's Grindhouse, Thanksgiving took 16 years to become a real movie. Was it worth the wait? Let's find out. For each of these kills, I'm grading the entire sequence leading up to the kill, which basically means I'm factoring in the setup of each kill scene, as well as the kill itself. Higher marks go to kills that are suspenseful, scary, innovative, over the top, or just plain fun. The assignments are in. Let the grading begin.
Thanksgiving night, Plymouth, Massachusetts. An unruly crowd of shoppers have converged outside of Right Mart for early Black Friday specials. Impatience turns to madness as the shoppers force their way into the store. The glass door falls onto security guard Doug, who falls into the broken glass before getting trampled to death by the stampede of lunatic bargain hunters.
This entire Black Friday riot scene bounces between genuinely horrifying moments and over-the-top black comedy. Doug's demise falls into the former, although it's more tragic than scary or gory. It's effective as a piece of this chaotic scenario they're presenting in the opener, but to rate this one compared to the other kills in this film, the best I can give it is C.
Obsessed with getting a free Waffle Maker, this shopper in a hockey jersey accidentally slices his throat on a shard of broken glass from the shattered door. Undeterred, the mortally wounded hockey shopper manages to get his hands on a waffle iron. But he never has a chance to taste a delicious waffle again, as he bleeds out from his injuries, while the chaos continues around his corpse.
Remember how I mentioned the black comedy in this sequence? This kill is a prime example of that. A New York Times article from 2017 about real-life Black Friday madness notes, Black Friday shoppers may exhibit a heightened sense of competition that can lead to such behaviors as shoving other shoppers or taking goods from another customer's cart. Such behavior is similarly perceived as a way to win. This kill mocks that behavior by taking it to an absurd extreme. This guy literally died to get a deal. He suffered this serious injury and he's still razor focused on getting his frickin' waffle iron. The best part is somebody literally takes the waffle iron from his dead body moments later. I'm split on this one. I admire the gag, but the tone feels a bit too silly compared to the rest of the film. C-.
Amanda showed up at the store to surprise her husband, the store manager, with Thanksgiving leftovers. But the leftovers ended up all over the floor, just like Amanda. She's knocked to the ground and tries to crawl to safety. But safety eludes Amanda, as her head is run over by a shopping cart. Her hair becomes tangled in the wheels of the cart, and when the cart is pulled away, Amanda is scalped.
With all due respect to Doug and that hockey guy, this is the only death from this sequence that leaves a real impact. One, because Amanda's the only victim of this riot that we, the audience, have gotten to know thus far in the movie. And two, it's a brutal, slow, painful death that seems to drag on forever. You feel Amanda's suffering. It's rough. But, spoiler, Amanda's death needed to be memorable because it's the reason for everything that follows. And I think it succeeds in that regard. Also, kudos to Eli Roth for offering not one but two ways to annihilate someone with a shopping cart. B.
1 year later, a killer seeks revenge against everyone responsible for the Right Mart riot. One of the participants, Lizzy, is a waitress at the Capitaine Diner. Alone in the restaurant at night, Lizzy is surprised by the killer, dressed as Pilgrim John Carver. He slashes her palm with a straight razor, then dunks her face into the sink. The killer opens the door to the walk-in freezer. He slams Lizzy into the freezer door, her wet face and bloody palms sticking to the cold surface. She peels herself free just in time to avoid the killer's axe. Lizzy manages to escape the restaurant, but the killer is waiting outside in a car. Lizzy runs. She tries to find safety by crawling into a dumpster, but as she enters the trash box, the killer rams the dumpster with the car. The impact slams the dumpster lid down hard onto Lizzy, splitting her body in half at the waist.
This whole scene goes pretty hard. The killer shoves Lizzy face first into the sink, and you're thinking, oh, he's gonna drown her. Nope, he sticks her to the freezer door, a Christmas Story style. Then, Lizzy peeling her skin off to free herself as the killer approaches her with the axe. It's suspenseful and gross at the same time. As for the dumpster dive dissection, it's kinda silly and actually pretty unrealistic. I can't imagine many dumpsters have lids heavy and sharp enough to chop a human body in half. Who would design a dumpster like that? People would be losing their hands every day, assuming they could even lift the damn thing in the first place. I mean, nobody would use it. It wouldn't be practical. Putting that aside, this is still a great sequence, so A-.
Manny was a Right Mart security guard the night of the riot, but when the shit hit the fan, he ran away like a coward instead of doing his job. Now he's attempting to run away again, packing his bags to get the hell out of town once he hears of Lizzy's brutal murder. He enters his living room to find a John Carver mask sitting on his couch. Manny grabs a baseball bat and attempts to threaten the unseen intruder with violence, but John Carver surprises Manny with an electric carving knife to the gut. With the electric carver slicing away at Manny's innards, John Carver garrots Manny, decapitating him. Carver leaves with Manny's head as his trophy.
I love that we're seeing a character that realizes he's in danger and tries to nope out of the movie. It reminds me of cameraman Joel from Scream 2. This entire sequence of Manny in his apartment, the way he's communicating with his cat while there's a killer in the house, it's all pretty fun. The use of the electric knife is a nice Thanksgiving dinner reference, and the garroting feels like something out of Jason Voorhees' playbook. I enjoyed it. B+.
At rival high school Hanover South, cheerleader Amy has a surprise for her boyfriend, Lonnie. She takes him to the empty gymnasium where she treats him to a trampoline show. A very sexy trampoline show, if you get my drift. While Lonnie admires Amy's assets, the killer sneaks up behind Lonnie and twists his head backward, snapping his neck.
Lonnie was one of the major instigators of the Right Mart riot, so you'd think that he'd get a juicier comeuppance. Instead, he gets the lamest. He's not even the star of this scene. This is easily the most forgettable kill in this movie, so for that, it just gets a D.
Unaware her audience of one is now facing the wrong way, Amy continues her sexy trampoline act. The killer sneaks under the trampoline. He jabs a knife through the trampoline surface. Amy's foot lands on the blade. On her next bounce, the blade slices her hand. On the final bounce, Amy falls flat onto the trampoline as the knife impales her back and stomach.
This entire scene is a remake of a scene that appears in the original fake Grindhouse trailer. In that version, Amy gets impaled with the knife while doing the splits. I understand that version was probably too extreme to be replicated in this more mainstream take on the concept, but this replacement version just feels too safe in comparison. Honestly, the whole Lonnie and Amy scene feels weirdly out of place in this film. It seems to exist solely as a shout out to the original Grindhouse trailer, but if you're going to water it down like this, I'm not sure why they even bothered. Taken on its own merits, this kill is still okay, but just okay? C+.
The Right Mart riot was ignited when high school student Jessica, the daughter of the store owner, sneaked her friends into the store early through a side door. This act pissed off the impatient crowd, inciting them to action, making Jessica and her friends prime targets for the killer. One of these friends, Yulia, is at home packing for an impromptu family trip to Florida when the killer shows up and tranquilizes her father and the deputy guarding her house. The killer sneaks up behind Yulia and Yump scares her by yabbing her in the ears with two adorable whittle corn holders. Ha! Ears of corn. Get it? Jessica and Scuba rush to help Yulia, but when they arrive, the killer has Yulia at knife point. After a standoff, the killer turns on a nearby table saw and tosses Yulia onto the spinning blade, disemboweling her.
The best part about this one is the corncob holders in the ears. It's a great visual and ties in great with the Thanksgiving theme. The table saw death is violent and gory. I guess it works in the context of the scene, where the killer is forced to improvise when Scuba shows up with a gun, but the gun doesn't fire, so the killer takes the opportunity to kill Yulia and use her death as a distraction to escape. It's an effective sequence overall, but I still believe this scene peaked with the ear piercings. B.
Despite the murders, the town decides to hold their annual Thanksgiving parade. Jessica, Scuba, and Jessica's family ride on the Right Mart float, hoping to lure John Carver out of hiding. But the killer has another target in mind: the parade's turkey mascot. The young man in this mascot costume is Lionel. He's the one who ran over Amanda's head with a shopping cart 1 year earlier. Now his own head is on the chopping block, literally, as the killer, now wearing a clown costume, creeps up to the turkey and beheads him with an axe.
This is another kill recycled from the Grindhouse fake trailer, but in this case, I prefer the newer version. It's a bit bloodier and the FX are worlds better, plus the shock factor of the kill works much better with the extended buildup of the scene. You're so focused on the lead characters and their search for the killer that this turkcapitation takes you by surprise, even if you saw it in the fake trailer, or the real trailer. It's so simple and stupid, but also hilarious, that I just can't help but love this turkey takedown. B+.
In the parade, the truck hauling the Right Mart float, whose centerpiece is a replica of a pilgrim boat, is driven by this sweet old grandpa. When the turkey beheading causes everyone to panic, a performer in stilts wanders in front of the truck. Grandpa slams on the brakes. The inertia shifts the boat forward, causing it to break free from the float. The boat's bowsprit, you know, that pointy pole that sticks out of the front of ships? It rams through the truck's back window, impaling poor Grandpa through the back of his skull.
In my opinion, the most gruesome death in this movie. I don't even think this poor dude had anything to do with the Right Mart riot. He was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. And his poor grandchildren are sitting in the truck with him while this happens. You just know they're going to be traumatized and probably end up as the killers in a future Thanksgiving sequel. The setup to this one is really creative. It reminds me of something out of Final Destination. My only beef with this kill is that it feels sort of arbitrary. It's a shocking sight gag, but really doesn't serve the movie in any meaningful way. B.
Kathleen awakens on John Carver's kitchen table. He's basting her with butter, seasoning her with salt, preparing her like you would prepare a turkey before it goes in the oven. When Carver goes to check on the oven, Kathleen is able to sneak away. Carver realizes she's escaped and grabs a pitchfork to search for his prey. Kathleen manages to evade the killer for a few minutes and even makes it outside, but Carver stops her mid-escape by throwing the pitchfork into her back and dragging her back into the house. The killer binds Kathleen's arms and legs, puts her in the oven, turns up the heat, and slowly cooks her to death.
All right, now we're cooking. Well, Kathleen is. Easily my favorite kill in this whole movie. Preparing, baking, and serving someone like a turkey is about as iconic of a Thanksgiving-based kill as you can get. The beginning where he's basting her and seasoning her, it's so repulsive and weird and just incredible. The chase sequence in the middle is suspenseful, and the finale to this scene, while not as gory as the other notable kills in this movie, it's actually more genuinely terrifying. Just the idea of being slowly cooked alive, honestly, just dumpster me in half already. A.
Killer John Carver hosts a gruesome Thanksgiving dinner, where the main course is Kathleen, served like a turkey. The guests include his past victims and future targets, Jessica, her father, and her friends. They are bound to chairs at the dinner table, forced to witness this morbid meal. Carver decides Jessica's friend Evan won't make it to dessert. The killer grabs a mallet and bludgeons Evan to death, broadcasting this wicked act on a live stream.
This whole dinner party scene is over the top and disgusting and pretty amazing, really. The tone reminds me a bit of Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 with a touch of House of a Thousand Corpses, but I'm grading Evan's kill specifically, which isn't even the focal point of this scene. It's brutal enough, albeit not really unique. The killer spooning Evan's blood into this dish like it's cranberry sauce is clever, But to be perfectly honest, this is one of the kills I had completely forgotten about in the months since I watched this in theaters, so B-.
Warning. I'm about to spoil the identity of the movie's killer. After escaping the dinner party, our hero Jessica flees to the parade warehouse where she finds help from Sheriff Eric. But she soon realizes the sheriff has been the killer all along. He reveals he was having an affair with Amanda. They were in love, and now he seeks revenge for her death. He attacks Jessica, but she is rescued by Bobby. The sheriff hunts them in the warehouse. Jessica turns on a canister of flammable gas, inflating a giant turkey parade balloon. When the sheriff gets close to the oversized poultry, Jessica uses a traditional musket rifle to explode the turkey. The sheriff is engulfed in flames and seemingly burned alive.
Listen, before anyone can complain in the comments, I realize the sheriff probably isn't really dead, but since the movie presents him as dead, as far as we know, I'm including him in this video. You know, if he shows up again in Thanksgiving 2, I'll apologize in that killer report card video. The kill itself, The giant exploding turkey is fun. It fits the theme, as does the musket. The suspense with Jessica slowly loading this antique rifle as the killer approaches her with the axe. Love it. But for me, an explosion leading to an essentially off-screen kill just feels a little underwhelming considering how vicious this killer has been throughout this film. I know, setting up a sequel, but still, D+. Here at the RoboDanger Academy, we celebrate exceptional film fatalities by putting them on the Goner Roll. For the class of Thanksgiving, congrats to Lizzy and Kathleen for making the Goner Roll. Probably not the only role that Kathleen ends up on. Thanks for watching. How would you grade these kills? Let me know down in the comments. Is there a movie you'd like to see in a future killer report card video? Tell me about it. Subscribe for perfect attendance. Watch these for extra credit. And until next time, later, Danger Seekers.